Ray, do you have a PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
You're not sharing it yet.
Uh,
Please present your PowerPoint.
sa akon la, sir. Ready, sir. Galing ba sa connection ko, sir? Wait lang, sir. Na-share ko naman, sir. Na din sa ako, no? Ara na, sir. Wait lang. Kita ko na, sir.
Okay, now you're sharing. Yeah,
Yes.
it's already presented. Thank you.
Okay. So, our report is all about the Article 4 and 10. So, these are the name of the presenters. First, me, January Vita Buhara, and second, Rose P. Malakapay. Third, Ma'am May Pilingon Laksaw. And fourth, Ma'am Faith Joy Spendi. So this evening, our objectives, first is to appraise the teaching profession as a noblest calling. Second, consider teaching as dignified profession in terms of decent living. And third, demonstrate and maintain integrity with regards to business and financial matters. So before we start in our report, we have an activity or icebreaker called the Unscrabble game. So I will send the link and you will click it, then answer it in 5 minutes, okay?
Ako? Dali di. Ganyan ay magaling, di ba?
So,
Ikaw.
here's the link. So, nakita niyo ng link, ma'am? Ma'am, nakita niyo na ang link?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you answer it in 5 minutes.
Ano na naman yung pin?
Teka,
So, i-click mo lang ang link.
sa baba.
You click the link and you can enter to our activity in the Padlet.
Mapa man ni sir.
Sa babaw, ma'am.
Babaw.
So, I will check who is the
Sir, mapa man ni sir.
Sa babaw.
So you click the plus sign and then type your name first, then answer.
Sa filter sa ano? Diri sa ano, sir, sa chat?
Bali sa Padlet na siya, ma'am.
Hindi, I mean, ang answer naman, di bata.
Bali,
Ano sa Tagalog? Ay, hindi. May naka-answer ako, pero di ko tanda. Di naman. Dili sa plus, ang colorette.
o ma'am, may ang plus sign, i-click mo lang na kay,
Tapos, are,
tapos, type mo yung mga name, then, ma-space ka.
option 1. Ang may option 1. Pick location. Sorry, hindi ko mag-get sa instruction.
Wala man ano?
Actually, sir, naka-answer na ko. May mga na-unscramble na kong words. Pero, sa tingin ko i-type sa chat. Sa chat or dali sa unscrambled words mismo.
Diragi sa ma'am sa Padlet ka, ma'am, answer.
Sa Padlet, yes.
O, kay i-check doon ko na kung may naka-answer. Kaya daw wala, pagit may naka-answer.
Kaya na may answer na ko, pero I don't know where to write my answer.
I-say, para ma'am sa plus sign,
Ang
Diba pag-
colorette.
oo,
Ang
plus
colorette.
sign, oo,
And then,
colorette.
let's search a place by name. Option 1. Sorry, ang dali sa Tagalog is Zoom eh. Zoom. And then, ang nakita ko din,
So type your name first, then space, then answer.
enter.
Na para ma-recognize ko yung nag-answer. Kailangan may pangalan nyo.
I don't know.
Jan, excuse me.
I don't know where.
Sir?
Did you allow the users to write on the Padlet?
Yes,
Kasi
sir.
kung view lang ha, may click mo gid ang right. Make sure that you allow the user, make sure that in the privacy setting, you allow your users to type on the
O sir,
Padlet.
makatype lang po sir, naging testinganin namon.
Sige, okay.
Tapos
Nakita ko dire sa upper right is the red. May plus sign na color pink. Anong color?
yes.
Oo.
I-click mo na ma'am.
Then, pag-click ko, option 1, search a place by name.
So, dira ma'am, type mo the name mo, kag then backspace sa dalom sa na pwede ka naka-answer sang under sang name mo.
Alright.
Under sa name mo bla ma'am.
Okay. Then, nagwa is April Lane, Columbus. USA. Option 2.
What's that?
Okay, so it's already 5 minutes.
Pwede ko lang, sir.
Oh, I will
don't know
check
how
it later.
Sa chat
Okay.
na lang, sir.
Okay, so i-check ko lang yan mamaya. So, magpatuloy po tayo.
Sino dyan? Dyan, okay na.
Okay, start.
Okay na dyan? Dyan, okay na? Sige. Okay. The teacher and the profession. And the article 4 in the teacher and profession. Section 1. Every teacher shall actively help ensure that teaching is a noblest profession and shall manifest genuine enthusiasm and pride in teaching as a noble calling. Every teacher should have actively and everything ensure that teaching is more important as a teacher. You have to fulfill your role of teaching, and teacher is a good role model for every learner. For example, as a good teacher or role model to your student, not only the teaching you have to take care of, but also you need to apply to yourself as a good model. Kung para makita sa para magpati para maniniwala ang mga student na ikaw ba talaga ay a good model sa kanilang lahat, dapat i-apply mo sa iyong sarili na nakikita nila na na ikaw talaga ang ilang role model as a teacher. And uh, teacher needs to sacrifice every everything because of hardworking responsibilities. Um, Unlike other profession, for example, like a doctor, after nila sa kanilang trabaho, umuwi sila ng bahay at mag dahil pagod na sila, kailangan nilang magpahinga. But the teacher, hindi pa tapos ang kanilang trabaho dahil kailangan pa nilang tapusin at gumawa ng lesson plan para meron naman silang ikaklase bukas. And amo na John Ray. John Ray, ikaw na.
Okay.
Ay, wala pa lagi. Uh,
Okay, so Article 2, every teacher shall uphold the highest possible standards of quality education, shall make the best preparation for the career teaching, and shall be at his best at all times in the practice of his profession. So we as teachers, we must be effective because as teachers na ang teachers na effective yung mga students nila makaka-learn ng maraming or maraming matutunan. And you serve as a facilitators of learning because nowadays lalo na sa mga 21st century learners, so marami na talaga sa kanila yung magagaling pa sa mga teachers. Kasi alam niyo kung bakit? Because they have all the access from the internet, Google, that can provide information that they needed. So alam niyo nandoon na lahat sa internet. So ita-type na lang nila at nila ang answer. That's why we as teachers, so you are there to facilitate their learnings. So para alam nila kung saan sila mag-focus kag kung ano yung ima-master nila.
And Section 3, every teacher shall participate in the continuing professional education program of the Professional Regulation Commission, shall pursue such other studies will improve his efficiency, enhance the prestige of the profession, and strengthen his competence, virtues, and productivity in order to be a nationally and internationally competitive. And article in section 3, the teacher are required to participate uh, in the program regarding in the professional education so that the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors of the teachers may be improved and teacher may be more competent in all aspects. For example, just like attending a seminar of the teachers that is important in their profession should be updated at all times. When you attending a seminar, you learn something new. It's really help a lot to profession as a teacher. Next na
Anuman?
Jen.
Okay, so section 4, every teacher shall help if duty authorized to seek support for the school, but shall not make improper misinterpretation through personal advertisements and other questionable means. Okay. So, so ganun ka noble yung profession ng isang teacher. Kasi ikaw yung nag-represent as a teacher sa school na ah, kung kung meron kang ah, may problem or merong issue ang isang teacher or napapabalita sa TV or or napatolfo ka or napatolfo yung isang teacher. So kung saan ka nagtratrabaho ng isang administration, so madadamay yung tinatrabahuan mo. At questionable din yung school. So that's why nagtatanong or kasama sa interview yung principals of the other teachers. Then so that's why we must be careful na hindi ma-interpret yung school because of your kapabayaan or mga maling gawain. So we must be careful. Okay, so section 5, every teacher shall use the teaching profession in a manner that makes it a dignified means for earning a decent living. So, dapat nagtuturo ka talaga na in a way na decent ka or you are confident ka talaga and you are a high standard na kailangan mong gampanan as a teachers. So, hindi lang naging teacher ka kasi yumayaman ka or yung teacher ka marami kang pera. Kasi honestly, sinasabi nila dati na walang yumayaman sa pagiging teacher. But I disagree that saying kasi alam nyo, walang yumayaman in terms of financial matters. Yumayaman ang teacher talaga through the student success and then kapag nakita mo yung estudyante mo that they are very thankful na naging part ka ng changes na meron sila ngayon. So May, it's your turn.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sir January. Good afternoon, classmates.
Hello,
Okay,
good
now in Article
afternoon.
10, the teacher and business. In this article, we are going to discuss the life of a teacher in relation to business. In section 1, a teacher has a right to engage directly or indirectly in legitimate income generation, provided that it does not related or to or adversely affect his work. This section emphasizes that a teacher is allowed to run or manage a business, whether it is directly or uh, it is personal transaction. Indirectly means whether it is online business transaction or being an online reseller. Provided that the business is number one, it is legitimate. When you say legitimate, it means conforming to the law or rule. It means it does not violating any law or it is illegal in nature or there is a legality. No wonder that there are many teachers who are engaged in different businesses, like uh, they engage in tutorials or selling stock toys, also selling local food. Some are even distributor, personal collection distributor, Wi-Fi dealer, e-loading, and many more. Because a teacher has a right to engage in research, business, as long as it generates income that is legitimate. So number two, the teacher has a right to engage in business as long that it does not adversely affect his work. When you say adversely, it means harmful or negative effect. There is no problem in business. No? As long as the business is cannot harm, no? As long as the business is safe and it does not give a negative effect on the teaching job of a teacher. Because business is good and business helps. But if the business affects the teaching job, there comes a dilemma or a problem or difficult situation. And it will cause a negative effect on the part of uh, the stakeholders. Number one, on the part of a teacher. Why? Because being a teacher is already a loaded task. And if a teacher will engage in business, the teacher will become overloaded. And then if he is overloaded, of course, he needs to do a hard work. He needs to double his time, and it will cause overfatigue, restless night, and eventually he will become sick. So how can a teacher perform his good performance if he is no longer energetic? Not because he is tired already because of the overloaded work ng isang teacher. So it will really affect the teaching performance of a teacher. Then number two, it affects the students' learning. Probably on the part of the students, no, it is okay for them not to have a class, but actually their learning are being affected. The number two, the school, because if the teacher is not feeling well, no, there is a cancellation of the class. He cannot report to the class. So it is not a good record for the school. And then number four is that parents. It will give a negative uh, feedback to the teachers if the on the parents rather if the teacher cannot handle a class because he is already overworked because of the teaching job and because of the business. So, but as long as the business does not affect, it is really okay to have a business because business, as I said, is a very good and it really helps. Now, how does business affect the good performance of a teacher? Okay, if the teacher fails to know what comes first, if the teacher fails to know what is the first thing to do, and then if the teacher fails to do his priority, you must always remember that a teacher never to compromise class or his profession for the sake of business. Never sacrifice the class for the sake of business. No? Okay, I will give an example here. Example, a teacher is being invited on a business seminar. So he cannot report to the school because he needs to attend to the seminar. Or he will be late, hindi po siya. Kaya he will be unprepared because of the restless night, no, because of the turning of the lessons plans and all the business. So it will cause some natin na unprepared siya. So, or another example, if a teacher is an online reseller, no? And you are in the midst of the class, and then Mr. Ninja is calling you. Mr. Ninja is on the corner waiting for you to pick up your parcel, no? So, it will harm, it will cause a negative effect on your performance as a teacher. So it will ruin the class schedules and activities. It will affect. But as long that the business affects the success and effectiveness of the teaching and will follow the section one, this business can be a helpful. No? It will be a helpful source to generate extra income as long as the business is properly managed. So there is no wrong with as it is good. So that it is properly managed. Okay. Because sometimes people fail. Instead, you will gain an income, you have to cover up because of the juice. And sometimes this can also succeed and it will cause also overwhelm. So, as a teacher, we must see to it that the business won't affect the success and effectiveness of the teaching performance. Okay, let's go to section number two. The section number two, a teacher shall maintain a good reputation in respect to financial matters such as in the settlement of his debts, and other financial affairs. In this section, a teacher must uphold, keep, and demonstrate a good reputation in terms of financial matter. Okay, example, we just debt. You say just debt, it means a legal debt that an unemployed is obliged to pay. Example, if a teacher will involved in a plan or in a lending or in a home debt, a teacher should maintain a good reputation by paying it on due time. Okay? So there is a problem if the teacher is in a debt. As long as the teacher will pay it on due time. The number two, in loans and other affairs. Loans means the borrowed money that is expected to pay back with interest. Loan is good, but multiple loans can affect a daily finances. Why teachers loan? Why? Bakit naglo-loan ang mga teacher? What is the common reason why teacher having a salary loan? Number one, to support education for students. Kailangan nila maglo-loan para doon sa pag-aaral ng kanilang mga anak. Especially if ang mga anak nila ay nasa college na. So ito demand ng malaking amount na pera. Then, payment. You have accounting, no? Or you are studying in a in your doctoral degree, or also so that is why because of a many need or many demand ng financial, ang nangyayari sa mga teacher ay ang kanilang lending ay walang ending. Lending mo loan dito and loan doon, no? But even ano pa mga loan yan? As long that the reputation of a teacher was being protected and nagbabayad sa tamang oras, wala po kasi walang problema yan. Because protect ng mga emergencies, example, hospitalization, mga unavoided circumstances. No? So even in financial struggle, a teacher should hold and maintain a good reputation in paying it on time. Otherwise, if he is careless or so, it will damage and affect your personality as a professional teacher. So we should always remember that a teacher is a role model, even in terms of financial matters, especially if you are giving a promises. If you'll give a promise and say, okay, I will borrow money and I will uh, give it back to you after 2 weeks, no? You have to pay that after 2 weeks, hindi 2 years. Pag sinabi ng 2 weeks, 2 weeks na talaga. Because what the matters here is the trust. The trust and the respectability of the money. So we must always remember that some of the teachers' qualifications are worthy is respectful. No? Respectful ka sa atin ng mga authority. So how can we expect people to respect us if we ourselves so hindi natin bigyan ng talaga ang ating mga sarili. So, in giving promises, be true to your promises. Sabi nila, promises are made up to be broken, but not when it say in terms of debts or in loans. No, you have to pay it kasi masakit kasi na pinagpapangakuan ka, pinagpromisahan ka, tapos hindi naman sinutupad yung mga pangako, di ba? Sakit na hintay ka ng pangako na hindi naman tinutuo ang kanilang mga pangako. So, in terms of financial, no, a teacher will engage in a debt or loan. So, he must be true to his word. He must true to his promises. No? Because hindi lang kasi profession, personality, your integrity ang nakasalalo dito. Also your Proverbs 30 says, a good name is rather to the person than great riches, and loving favor is better than silver and gold. So, importante sa atin yung name na pangalagaan natin, especially the profession of being a teacher. So, whether in debt or loan, a teacher should keep his integrity that no one will give a negative feedback because of money matter. So, don't loan too much. When we have section 1, we can engage in different businesses as long as it is legitimate to feel some slack. Okay, last of all, a teacher should demonstrate and maintain integrity with regards to business and financial matters to uphold it as a noble person. For the section 3 to be reported to us by Ma'am Faith Joy is
Good evening, everyone. Section 3 of Article 6. No teacher shall act directly or indirectly as agent or to be financially interested in any commercial venture which furnish textbooks and other school commodities and the purchase and disposal of which. Next, sir. Next slide, please. He can exercise official influence except only when his assignment is inherently related to such purchase and disposal, provided that such shall be in accordance with existing regulations. Now, this Article 6, Section 3 means that as a teacher, you should not take part in selling or purchase of books. A teacher should never be engaged in making money for personal profit or gain. Usually, public school teachers are trapped in this issue. The classroom should not be a marketplace, or a teacher must not accommodate the purchase of any products. Now, there are many examples. For example, Avon products, no, lotion. Some are selling perfumes, no. So, example, during my experience when I was in elementary grades, my teacher would tell us to buy ice candy. no, during my time. I was grade 4 during that time. And then my teacher would say, if you will not buy, you have to credit and just pay it tomorrow. So what influence a teacher makes? Credit in an early age. Tinuturuan ang mga batang mangutang sa murang edad. I think it's not good, no? So as a teacher, you must not venture or expose to damage or risk about money transactions in his or her own workplace. There was once a principal in our place, no? This is a true story. And that principal would tell the teachers to cut off all the trees in the schoolyard. Pinaputol niya lahat ng mga punong kahoy sa paaralan tapos ipinagbili niya ito sa isang bakery. The money was not endorsed to the school. Instead, ito ay naging issue. And the issue was corruption. She was not transparent about money matters. So teachers should be extra careful in handling money. And it will become a uncomfortable environment, no? Uncomfortable classroom, uncomfortable relationship to the parents. But this section 3 of Article 6 tells us that if your superior assigned you to purchase a textbook and there is an institutional agreement between you, in this case, you have to be transparent to be safe from accusations and intrigues among parents and colleagues. Therefore, teachers should avoid business transactions that will lead to controversies. Okay, I think, sir, adto na ta sa ato na saying, Sir Janry. Okay, a truly amazing teacher is hard to find and impossible to forget. Now, by Maria Austin Whitney. So, I think this means that what makes a teacher amazing? Amazing means awesome. An awesome teacher multiply herself or himself, and this is very rare. One who has a great influence in the lives of the learners or the students, and that makes a teacher unforgettable. Thank you very much, sir, and that ends my report.
Okay, so this is our references. Then we say thank you for listening. God bless.
Okay, a round of applause to our third group. Okay, virtual claps. Congratulations. They were able to finish. I mean, they were able to start on time and they were also they were able to finish on time. So congratulations for your comprehensive discussion of the topics assigned to you. And I think you were able to shed light to most of the issues that probably you might have experienced when you were still kids, with your teachers. Although we don't want to condemn those teachers who did that, maybe they were not just as informed of the professional code of ethics. Had they been informed, probably they would have been ashamed of their own skin for having done that embarrassing activities, right? So let me share with you my comments on the presentation of Group 3. Can you please stop sharing, presenting, Jan Ray? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let me present to you my, okay, my thesis. Okay, can you see my screen now? I hope you can see it. Maybe you can see it, but it's still...
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, okay, so I hope the screen is now being presented. Okay, so the title is The Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers, His Person, Profession, and Business. So we are talking here about yourself as a teacher, talking about the reputation, right? Of course, the profession that you are having, and the kind of business activities that you will be conducting. So, our presenters for tonight, Where are the presenters? Nasaan na yung mga presenters natin? Okay. We have John Ray Tabuhara, Rose Malakapay, Faith Joy Espende, and May Laksao. Did I spell your names correctly? Tama
Yes, sir.
naman. Okay, thank you so much. So let's start with the strengths of the group. One is a time allotment for every activity. I like that when you put or give time limit to every activity, and that you also stick to your time limit. So it's very good. I think transition from one presenter to another was also evident. You know, from Jan Ray to Rose to Faith Joy, and then to May. So I think it was very, it was smooth. So it's really good. Collaboration was also evident. Use of only one PowerPoint for all presenters. I like that because it would save time on the presentation of the PowerPoint, and also it will make your PowerPoint really good, because if someone is good or someone good who will prepare the PowerPoint, so it will be the same all throughout. So there would be no comparison among members in as far as the PowerPoint presentation is concerned. You have also provided specific examples. The presenters were able to expound their topics. Ang daming hugot, no? From younger years, ng mga bata pa kayo na ganito, ganito. But it's good that you were able to relate that. Kasi I understand that when you were kids, probably it did not occur to you that what the teacher was doing was actually a violation of the code of ethics, right? Now that you know it, you can explain to your students, or maybe you will not follow what that teacher did before. Although I wouldn't also condemn them for having done that. Maybe they were just unaware of it. But sometimes ignorance of the law, they say, excuses no one. So therefore, they still would be held accountable to what they have done, right? They would be held accountable to it. So PowerPoint presentation is excellent. The text is readable and the pictures complement the text. Choice of design was also good. I know you made use of a default design on PowerPoint, and there are a lot of PowerPoint default designs that you can get from there. So you can maximize all those designs and then just add some more details like pictures, for example, that would complement the text. And then preparation was also manifested. Good internet connection, I think. If I were to rate your internet connection, probably 80% better. So maybe we would want to have a 90% internet connection, but I think it's impossible. We have to negotiate that with telcos so that they would improve their service. So it's something that is beyond our control. I mean, the quality of internet connectivity. And I think on time. Now, I really appreciate timeliness and punctuality, and I think all four were on time when I gave you the link. You were able to join in, and that's very good, commendable. Congratulations, group 3. Wow, you're done already. Now let's move on to the rooms for improvement. I think every presenter, as I mentioned last time, you have some Achilles heel that you need also to deal with. One is that need to have plan B for every activity to ensure that smooth delivery would be done. Okay, and as far as the use of Padlet, I know that that is creativity, and I really appreciate the group for having used a third-party app for your presentation, because sooner or later you would become a presenter yourself in a virtual engagement like this one. So it would be nice also to incorporate other applications in your presentation to add add activity, add more life in your presentation. I understand that John Ray and the rest of the team did practice for this, but I think didn't work out during our presentation today. And I was expecting a processing of the activity, but it did not happen. Probably one option that you could have done was to ask the participants to just type their answers in the chat box and then discuss the answers a little bit. That would be nice. Do not just give them an activity and then just left it in mid-air, not doing anything with the activity. You have to process the activity and how is the activity related to your presentation. So there must be a sort of anchor that you need to hold on to before you move on to the presentation proper, because that activity is a priming activity that would set the mood, the tone and the mood of the whole activity. So that is really good. It's a good motivation. It's just that you were not able to bridge the motivation to the abstraction. Probably there was just a few grammatical lapses, pronunciation, which for me is negligible, that you can still improve on. This is something that I really like about virtual engagement or virtual talks, because you can have a copy or an outline of your presentation. So you don't have to speak spontaneously. You can have an outline here that would guide you in your discussion, and that would be enough, I think. And many of you have done that, though. So the last would be reduction of the noise, or maybe you have to look for a quiet place. If some of you would like, I think there were two of you who opened I mean, you unmuted your microphone, and the sound was already still bearable, though. I could hear someone hammering. I don't know, maybe a dog barking, and a few noise that I could hear in the background. So that's something that we need to improve on, especially if we are making a presentation. So that's very important. Right now, I'm using a fan. I don't know if the fan has caused also noise on your end, but I think it's very important for us to ensure that we are in a quiet place, because that is part actually of the many protocols that we need to observe when we are conducting virtual engagements such as this. Okay? So thank you so much and congratulations. You made me so proud, no? Talagang gagraduate na kayo, no? With a caliber of presentations that you have, and with the kind of examples that you have given. I could confidently say that you are now really prepared to be called beginning teachers, because when you enter DepEd after passing the licensure examination for teachers, you will be considered already as proficient teacher once you have started, or once you have entered the Department of Education. Right now you are learning the basics of a beginner teacher or a beginning teacher, so now you are already beginning teachers, because you are now refining, polishing your craft into becoming or better teachers. Okay, so I have here a few insights I would like to share. First is, what should every teacher manifest? Based on the presentations that were presented to us, the teacher as a person, what should we manifest as teachers? What do you think we should manifest? Okay, James answered here. We should manifest the reputation of being a teacher, because you need to be a role model. That is right. What else? What should we manifest? The character of a role model. Okay, we should manifest trustworthiness. Why do you think it's very important for teachers to be trustworthy? Diba? There is a saying that you need to walk your talk. When you are a teacher, our capital is our word, right? We teach kids and they listen to us. There was even a parent who told me before that the kid listened to me more than her, because I do not know, maybe I'm just a teacher. I'm a teacher and I'm more influential than her, than the mom or than the dad. That is why we should have that kind of character. Good character, worthy of emulation. So testimony, very important. So let's check here some of your comments in the chat box. According to James, to be a role model. According to Amisol, you should be trusted. The testimony is very important. That is true. Jan Ray, genuine enthusiasm. Sharon, willingness to reflect, and passion for teaching. Okay, I love all the ideas that you have shared. These ideas reflect the kind of character that you want that teacher to have, that teacher in you to have. Dapat hindi natin sasabihin na you could have been the best teacher that we never had. You should be the best teacher that we have, not we never had. No? Kasi pangit yung we never had. So according to Mila, we should manifest the teacher by their word of wisdom because as a teacher, they are role models. That's right, wisdom, no? Parang ang tanda-tanda na natin pag sinabi nating wisdom na, no? Kasi iba yung knowledge sa wisdom. Wisdom is gained by experience. And that experience shapes you to become a better teacher. But of course, aside from the experience that we are having day in and day out, we need also to capacitate ourselves. And that is knowing the essentials of being a teacher. So it says here that every teacher shall actively help ensure that teaching is the noblest profession and shall manifest genuine enthusiasm and pride in teaching as a noble calling. Sa tama yung sinabi ni John Reed, genuine enthusiasm. Ano ba yung genuine enthusiasm na ibig sabihin dito? Can we fake enthusiasm? Pwedeng i-fake, no? Can you fake it? Yes, you can fake it. You can smile, 'di ba? Sabi nga nila yung taong mas malakas ang tawa, yun yung maraming problema. And I could really relate to that because when I was in Japan, I was told that the Japanese people easily ride on to jokes, for example. Pero sa totoo lang, hindi naman sila natutuwa dun sa mga jokes. Talagang tatawa lang sila ng tatawa because that's part of their personality. And that could be true. But when you talk about genuine enthusiasm, it is your passion towards work. And I think passion is so deeply rooted to your love for the craft. Which means to say right now, probably many of you think of becoming a teacher. But after graduation, you would realize that I'm not into teaching. Um, my uncle, I know you're familiar, maybe you're familiar with Sir Blas Tabayag, also a supervisor at SDO Cabancalan City. He had a student before who took up education in college but ended up a businesswoman. And she really did well in business, which means that right now, although you are taking up education, but no one can tell what kind of profession or business you would have in the future. That is still dependent on your own inclination. So huwag nating isara ang ano no, isara ang chance of going into other craft. Although I'm really hoping and praying that all of you will become teachers one day because I can see in you the passion and the enthusiasm of becoming a teacher. And as I told you, if you force yourself to teach even if you don't have the passion towards teaching, I think you would only consider teaching as a day job. And when it is a day job, it is something that you do because you earn money, but not something that you do because you enjoy doing it. So, day job and really your dream job are two different things. Day job is just something that you do, you earn money, you don't love it, you don't like it. But if it is a dream job, it's your calling, it's a vocation, it's your mission to teach. So you have to think of that and you have to always reflect on it. I like the idea of Sharon when she mentioned about reflection because as a teacher, we need to reflect. May mga hindi naman teaching dati, pero naging senior high school teacher sila ngayon. No, I spoke to some engineers at Florentino Galang Senior. Engineers sila by profession. They entered DepEd 3 years ago and I talked to one and he said, would you like to continue teaching at Florentino Galang or you would want to be an engineer? Because he's already a licensed engineer. And he said, you know, sir, I enjoy teaching now. So he wanted to be a teacher at Florentino Galang, teaching STEM. STEM strand. So you see, teaching is a calling and you cannot force yourself to doing something that you don't like to do. And I would like also to emphasize this, that if you do this, not because you love it, then you should learn loving the craft. I started the education course, not loving the course because I was forced to take up education. I wanted to be a medical doctor. But then, because of circumstance, my parents could not send me to college. So I ended up enrolling education. But after finishing the course and after passing the licensure examination for teachers, then I realized that I was meant to be a teacher because I had this genuine enthusiasm and pride of teaching that every time I face my students, I wanted to really make sure that every time I go to the classroom, I had something new to share to my students so that they would be able to anticipate and to look forward to attending my class. And I want you to do the same thing na dapat yung may bago ka, may something bago, hindi yung ano, kaya when I was still teaching, some of my colleagues, older colleagues, were a bit skeptical about my strategy. Kasi di ba sa old school, iba eh, gusto na tahimik yung klase, walang ginagawa, makikinig lang yung bata, no? Spare the rod and spoil the child, no? The old school way of dealing classroom management. But here came a new teacher, and I could consider myself as a 21st century teacher, employing constructivism in the classroom, making students do, making students make constructive noise in the classroom. So you see, that's what you call genuine enthusiasm. And kids are so active and so hyperactive sometimes. So you need to level up with your kids' enthusiasm so that you would not end up like a boring teacher. So you have to be a teacher that is full of enthusiasm. That is what you call genuine enthusiasm, loving your job. And the reason why you go to your school, you go to your class, is because you want to teach every child there, no matter of what circumstances they are in, no matter how intelligent or how slow they are in terms of learning, you still enjoy doing what you do. So manifesting the love for teaching, that is one thing that we have to bear in mind. What is it that we want to develop from our learners? Kasi 'di ba, one thing that we need to manifest is the genuine enthusiasm, the love for teaching. What is it now that we want to develop from our learners based on the presentations of the four, John Ray, Rose, May, and Faith? What do we want to develop from them? Because first of all, they say that if we cannot develop this in our learners, our presence in the classroom would be useless. You will become just a talking statue. I don't know how you would describe as a talking statue or a parrot, right? A parrot, probably. Or you will just be talking there, but kids won't mind you, your existence. So the work of the teacher is very important, especially in the development of the young, the trust of which every teacher should strive to be worthy. Who uses his position for an unworthy purpose betrays the trust. Which means to say that one thing, one very thing that we need to develop among our students, be it elementary, secondary, or even college, should be the trust. And I would like to reiterate what one famous teacher once said, that students do not learn from teachers they do not like. In the same manner that teach or students do not learn from teachers they don't trust. So first and foremost, you should be trusted. And how can you be trusted? That is the question. That is why it is very important. One good thing for you to establish first is to check yourself, to reflect on yourself. Am I worthy to be trusted? So you have to reflect that. And from there stems your decision whether you would pursue teaching, whether you would pursue another vocation. If you would pursue teaching for you to be able to maintain the trust, according to May, we need to have a good reputation. According to James, good character, they become future good leaders. That's right, because they follow you, they think of you as their models. According to Sharon, we need to enhance our knowledge. That is right. Sometimes maybe time would come when you become retirable and you would say, oh, I want to relax now, give all tasks to neophytes, to the newbies. But that is wrong, especially if you're holding a higher position. Some master teachers are like that, no? After having promoted to a master teacher position, they wouldn't help the school anymore, neither the district or the division, because they're after only for the promotion. But sad But I mean, they may have forgotten that if you're a master teacher, you're supposed to be a mentor to younger teachers. And that our promotion is a privilege if you consider yourself as as a teacher who loves teaching. That is very important. And according to Amisol, I want them to trust me because whatever I teach them, they follow. Especially for kindergarten, that is so true. If they don't trust you, they wouldn't follow you. And if they do not trust you, for example, if you betray their trust, parang nakakaano naman yun. Ang pangit naman na you lied to your kids. Na can you afford to lie to little souls or young minds, innocent minds? Nakakahiya na teacher, no? Na ganun ka. So that is why it's very important to establish trust. And trust only will happen if you can empathize with your learners. Kasi 'di ba may mga estudyante na medyo poor sila in terms of not only in terms of financial things but also in terms of knowledge. Tapos ikaw naman as a teacher, you have to be understanding. Para at least you would not be the cause of their dropping out of school. It's so sad to be the cause of their dropping out of school. When I was still a teacher before, I had colleagues in the profession who were very strict when it comes to attendance. They did not even bother knowing the reason why their students absent from class without realizing na tumulong pala yun sa magulang na walang makain. So sometimes, sasabihin na nila mag-drop out ka na without even realizing that as a teacher, we have to provide them the best that we could. Promoting inclusivity in education would mean providing interventions such as distance learning, modular distance learning, or whatever alternative delivery modes that we can provide to our learners. In that way, no matter what circumstance they are in, they can still be educated. And that is because of the teacher. And I think only teachers who love teaching will be able to value the presence of every student, no matter how how probably how naughty the student is, no? Kasi ikaw lang naman yung nakakaintindi sa kanila. That is why according to John Ray, we need to keep on learning, work hard, work smart. I mean, according to Amisal, we live what we teach. That is so true. Being an example to them. And why is that so much is demanded of the teacher as a person? Bakit ang daming idinidemand sa atin, no? Trust, for example. Dinidemand pa sa atin na magiging magiging genuine tayo sa sarili natin. Mahal ba talaga natin yung teaching? Bakit kaya? It's because our learners look up on us as their models. And therefore, we must walk our talk so that we would not end up like a noisy gong or a changing cymbal. So parang gong lang siya, no? Na pagkatapos ng noise, wala ka nang maririnig. But we are not just a noisy gong or a changing cymbal. We are human beings and we are also teaching human beings. Our lessons should mirror our learners. They should reflect our learners. Alam ba natin yung mga estudyante na sasabihin nila, yung estudyante na yan galing Fellowship Baptist College. Di ba may mga certain characteristics? Ang student na yan galing ng Southland College. Ang mga estudyante na to galing ng Kabankalan Catholic College. Galing yan ng UP. Galing yan ng Ateneo. Galing yan ng Lasal. Or galing yan ng Adamson, for example. Kasi, di ba, sinusunod tayo ng mga estudyante natin. So, whatever character you want to instill in them would be learned by our students. That is why we need to walk our talk. If we want to discipline them, do not throw your trash everywhere. You have to show to them that you model the behavior to them. Hindi yung do not throw the trash, pero ikaw mismo kung saan-saan mo lang tinatapon mo yung trash mo. No? So isang bagay yan na dapat nating isa-isip. No? We have to model it. We want our students to join the flag ceremony, pero ikaw palagi ka namang late sa flag ceremony. For example, na? So gusto mong maganda yung penmanship ng students mo, but you don't even have a really legible penmanship. That is why as a teacher, most of the teachers now, I'm not biased to the new teachers, but during my batch, most of the teachers then had really good penmanship. Kasi when I was still a student at PNU, we were really taught how to write letters of the alphabet. No, na dapat ganito yan, ganito yan. Pag mali, sinusoli yan ng teacher namin, no, sa PNU. So I think that is something that most of the students lack now, because most of the students, even education students, do not know how to write cursive properly. So especially for kindergarten and elementary school teachers, you need to practice the proper way of writing. That is something that we need to ensure that when we begin teaching students, we model them the proper way of writing. I think it's good if you can do that. You would be surprised. Your students would really be able to develop the writing skills as well. According to John Ray, because the young generation look up on us as their leader, as their model. According to Mila, teacher is our superheroes. They're superheroes. We can achieve our dreams without the teacher. That is right. That is why we need to be a model to them. And mind you, in relation to the mentioning of loans and whatnot by I think it was May who mentioned about that. The highest obligation of a teacher is to live with dignity in all places at all times. So 24 hours at all times, 7 days a week, 31 days a month, 365 days or 366 days a year. Grabe naman ang teacher, no? Wala ka talagang kawala. 365 to 365
1 year,
days.
sir.
1 year, no? Habang natutulog ka, dapat teacher ka pa din. Paano ba dapat matulog si teacher?
Walang
So,
tulugan.
walang pahinga talaga si teacher, no? Walang pahinga. That is why it requires teaching requires someone who really has the passion to teach. Otherwise, you would be really exhausted. You would be fed up, no? Sabi nga ni ano kanina, no, habang walang tulugan no, kasi sabi ni Rose, habang yung ibang profesyon ay tapos na sila, nakaupo na sila sa couch, nanonood ng TV, no? Ikaw naman yung teacher naman, nasusulat pa ng lesson plan, no? Part of your job as a teacher. You see how noble teaching is, and how difficult teaching can become if you don't love what you do. That is why it is very important to love what you do, for you to be able to share to others the love and the joy of learning. Kasi a teacher who loves to teach, it will actually emanate in the way you present the lesson. But the teacher who doesn't love to teach, sa mukha pa lang, nako, parang stress na si teacher, no? Sarap i-teacher ipa-facial kasi ang dami ng wrinkles sa mukha, no? So dapat makikita yan sa mukha yung teacher na love niya yung craft niya, kaysa teacher na hindi niya love yung craft niya kasi palagi nakataas yung kilay palagi, no? Alam ko naman yung mga babae dito, kilay is life, sabi nga nila, no? Yung sa mga lalaki naman, buhok is life, no? Yung mga teachers natin na mga lalaki, mahilig yan mag-set ng kanilang buhok. So these are the things, maybe the manifestations of you loving your job. No? Dapat pangalagaan din natin yung sarili natin, because how you look and how you portray yourself reflects the kind of teacher you are. So you have to be beautiful, no, inside and out. Okay. So that's it. And also, we have to include integrity, since the teacher's work is not confined merely to the development of certain fundamental skills and abilities encompassed by the teaching of 3 R's, no, the reading, writing, arithmetic, but also includes the development of desirable habits and attitudes that go into the formation of character. His manner of living should provide a worthy example for his pupils and students to emulate, for his fellow teacher to be proud of, and for the community to feel as being enriched by it. Which means that, tama yung kanina, yung 366 or 365 days, yung 1 year kanina. Kasi, your job is not just in the classroom. You also have to have a good relationship with your colleagues and that of the community. So wala kang kawala. No, hindi po pwedeng magaling kang magturo pero pagdating sa as a colleague hindi ka naman magaling. As a neighbor, Ayun, palagi mong kinakalaban yung kapitbahay. So, hindi siya maganda. That is why as a teacher, it is very important to establish talaga rapport and good relationship with one another. Okay? So, last question natin, how can a teacher maintain his good reputation with respect to financial matters? Tama si Jenry kanina, we do not get rich because of teaching. Walang naging mayaman dahil guru siya. That is if you talk about the literal aspect of being rich. But if you go into the figurative meaning of being rich, tama si January, no? We may not be rich in terms of money, in terms of wealth, in terms of financial possessions, but we would still be wealthy because we have taught many students. We have effected change to the lives of many learners. Rich in knowledge, rich in ideas, probably rich with students who believe and trust you. Kaya paano natin i-maintain ito? Through the settlement of debts, loans, and other financial affairs. Sabi naman ni ano kanina, no, maklaro naman yung sinabi ni ano kanina. I think it was Faith, kung hindi ako nagkamali, or it was May kanina yung nagsabi na okay naman yung mangutang na yung hindi lang maganda doon pag hindi mo na settle yung utang mo. No? Kasi we have, actually teachers can really brag of our payslip. No? Pag may payslip na kami, pwede na kami pumuntang empty mas, ito lang yung ano ng payslip lang yung katapat. No? And there are many lending institutions that really thrive because of teachers. I think they should be thankful to teachers. Kung hindi dahil sa teachers, yung mga empty mas na yan, yung mga kung anong, ano pa ba, yung City Savings Bank, no? At kung ano pa mga lending institutions would not thrive, would not grow as they have been growing now had it not been for teachers. So teachers really are their biggest clients and customers. But because of that, I'm not saying that we have also to maximize our credit line because mind you, I understand that teachers know how to manage their finances naman properly, but still there are some teachers who just apply for loans just to probably have or to sustain their extravagant lifestyle, no? So ayaw kong maging ganun yung ending. Although may mga teachers na rin din na well off na sila and then they become teachers, of course they can live, no, according to their needs and their wants. But we have to also consider that the propensity of public school teachers to borrow is 50% higher than compared to other employees of the government such as the police and nurses. Ewan ko lang kung bakit. Bakit mas inclined daw tayo? Mas nangungutang daw yung teacher kaysa ibang empleyado. I think this is something that we need to study or to research on. Siguro importante siguro na alamin natin kung bakit kaya ganito. Siguro one of the things na makikita ko na dahilan is that some of the teachers even shell out from their pocket to buy visual aids. Ang pulis kasi wala nang binibiling visual aids. Yung mga nurses wala nang binibiling visual aids. Sa atin kasi nag-shell out tayo ng sarili nating money, no? We spend our own money to buy visual aids. Sometimes sabihin ni teacher, I need to invest on a laptop because I'm now using a projector in my class. So if I don't have a laptop which the school cannot afford to buy, I would not be able to give the best to my learners. So may mga ganun kasi nangyayari din. Especially now that we are on a distance learning modality, many teachers have invested on gadgets. And without gadgets now, without an Android or an iOS phones, I think you would be like a person living in the Stone Age. Parang ang layo-layo mo na sa kabihasnan. Parang ang layo-layo mo na sa sibilisasyon. Kaya dapat mag-invest tayo on this. And then you have to, dapat may internet connection, may ganito. So, sa dami ba namang extra expenses that the teachers should deal with, siguro yun yung dahilan. Maliban pa sa dahilang yung anak ng mga teachers are usually professionals because teachers being teachers themselves, they know the value of education. Kasi marami din sa mga teachers naman natin, yung mga anak nila doktor, engineer, and they really spend for their kids' education. That's something that I have seen actually. Although that is yet to be discovered. I think we need to have a research on this. Bakit kaya sinabi sa libro na mas marami daw yung propensity natin or inclination to borrow money is 50% higher. Naku, ang laki nun mali, compared to other employees. Sabi ni April, ayawan ko dakit sang loan sa mga teachers sa Marayo Bank. Okay, that is so that is so true, no? Pero kung alam lang natin yung mga dahilan nila kung bakit sila nangungutang, siguro that means to say that the salary of the teacher needs to be increased. Kasi now the police has the entry salary of 30,000 yata yung police. Pero yung teacher nasa 21,000 pa lang, no? Kaya dapat, suki din daw ni Mila. Nako Mila, you're also a businesswoman. Pero as long as you are not using it to your advantage naman, I mean, you don't use your influence to make them borrow money from you or borrow that, I don't know, the suki something, no? Ano man tawag doon, Mila. So that's really interesting, no? Sabi ni Lenet, some teacher even give financial support to their less fortunate students. Tama yun, no? Yung mga walang baon, binibigyan nila ng pagkain. No, it's a moving it's a poignant act of a teacher, no, nakakataba ng puso. And then teacher lives simply, he will not be indebted. To live simply, the professional teacher must distinguish between his needs and wants. Honestly speaking, when I was still a classroom teacher, I really had hindi ko naman sasabihin na wala akong utang, no? When I was still a classroom teacher, ang dami kong utang talaga. No, why? Because I also invested in education. Tama sino nagbanggit kanina na nag-aaral yan. When I was still studying in Manila, kasi although it was a scholarship grant by the National Educators Academy of the Philippines when I took up my master's degree, although scholarship siya, pero pag sinabi mong Manila talaga, you could really spend extra money from your own pocket kasi yung ibinibigay naman ng scholarship was not enough to cover all my daily expenses. That is why I had to apply for loan. And 5 years na scholarship yon. So just imagine how much money I had borrowed, no, from our meron kami ditong Kitemco, yung aming co-op, no, Kitemco. But after finishing my master's degree, many opportunities came in. And that I started to grow, not just as a professional, but also as a financial, not a financial expert at least, no? Hindi naman ako eksperto sa finances, but at least I was able to reduce, no, my financial expenses until such time na na-reach ko na yung level na I could say na happy na ako, no, because I could live not in debts. I could live according to what I earn, no? That's something like that. So I think that is something that also teachers must have to value, no? Na alam ko naman na sa umpisa siguro if I were married, definitely I would still be spending money for my kids. But right now, with the financial, something siguro na we have to establish is that we need to live simply. Na alam natin na may mga bagay na gusto natin, pero maaabot yan na in the future, na in the right time. Not now. Kasi if we buy something because we apply for a loan, we borrow money, I think that's not the best thing to do. Although we have our priorities. So I think as a teacher, we need to identify our priorities. Ano ba yung need? Ano ba yung want? Gang isa kong kaibigan na na supervisor, no, pumunta kami ng mall, tapos sabi ko, bili ako ng bagong sapatos. Sabi niya, bakit? Wala ka na bang sapatos sa bahay? Sabi ko, meron pa. Huwag kang bumili. Kasi that is want daw. Grabe yung yung supervisor na friend ko. May mga ibang gano'n, no? Meron pa ba? So, hindi muna. Pero kung wala na, need mo na talaga, na you cannot live without it, then you have to buy it. It's very important. Okay? And then, that's the end of it. And I would like to emphasize na yung pangungutang naman is okay lang siya as long as you can pay for your debts. And yung business naman, okay naman to engage in business except for selling of textbooks, no? But of course, we have to also be reminded that if that business will influence your buyers, you have full influence over your buyers, that is not also a good business. That is not allowed in the code of ethics. For example, principal ako, tapos nagbibenta ako ng Avon, for example. O, umorder kayo, no? Ganito, ganito. So that is not good. Or you're a teacher, tapos pina-order mo yung mga estudyante mo na mga mayayaman o yung mga honor roll, no, yung mga nanay, pinatawag, pina-order. So that is not good also. So siguro, yung business dito na tinatawag, something na hindi nakakaapekto sa trabaho mo bilang teacher, no? Something that cannot affect your job as a teacher, because may mga iba kasi na they use teaching as a sideline while they are a full-time business person. So I think that is not good, because for one, we are paid by the government for an 8-hour service. Sometimes beyond 8 hours, we still serve DepEd, Just this evening, I received a phone call from a colleague saying na, sir, yung mga listahan po ng ng ating mga participants sa isang training. So imagine that, even like that,